flower stem, I'm using a 260 with a little over a 1 finger tail. Give your balloon a squeeze and make some loop twists of about 5 fingers. Twist and pass the nozzle through. That's going to make sure that doesn't come undone. Give your balloon another squeeze and make another loop to match this one. Okay, and another squeeze, and by this time you should be pretty much fully inflated, and then one more loop. Okay, there you go. For the flower head, you're going to need two 260 balloons. And inflate to about a 5 finger tail or so. Just going to let that down a little bit. About 5 fingers. I'm just putting a twist in that, and then I'm going to inflate the next one. To let a little out of that, I think, just about a 5 finger tail, and then tie these 2 balloons together to form a duplex. Give everything a little squeeze to make sure it's nice and soft, and then twist a bubble of a couple of fingers in one balloon, and we're going to pinch twist that. Just pull the bubble up and twist it around. And then in the second balloon, make another bubble. Okay, of a couple of fingers and pinch twist that. So just pull it up and pinch twist it. Okay, so that's what we've got. Next, we're going to measure off a bubble that is perhaps about 4 inches or so, and then make another bubble to match this one. So just measure the 2 together and twist them together. In the other balloon, we're going to make 2 bubbles to match these. Just give everything a squeeze, make a bubble to match as close as we can, and then make another bubble to match this one. Okay, and then just twist those 2 together and wrap around the other 2. Okay, okay, so that's what you've got, and you've got a pinch twist on each side. Okay, give your balloons a bit of a squeeze. And with this balloon, we're going to make a bubble that is just a little bit larger than this, perhaps by about ½ an inch or so. Okay, and then make another bubble to match this one. And twist those together. Around. And with the same balloon that you used to make these 2 bubbles, make a bubble to match. Okay, so we want another pair of bubbles to match. So just slightly larger than this first set. Okay, wrap those around. Okay, so this is what you've got so far. And then with this longer balloon, we want to make a bubble that is about ½ an inch larger than these bubbles. Okay, and then make another one to match that one. Okay, and just twist those together. Okay, and then wrap the end round. Okay. So this is what you've got. Okay, so this shorter balloon, we can just trim off the end and tie. Okay, and in fact we can do the same with this second balloon, so just trim off the end and tie. Take your flower stem and the shorter of the 2 tails that you've got, and use that short tail to pull the flower into the stem, but you want to make sure that the shorter balloon, the shorter piece of excess is coming in between these two first sets of bubbles that you made. Okay, so just pull that in, wrap around a few times and pull back into the flower head. Okay, just arrange everything. Okay, so that's nice and secure on top of your flower stem. Take hold of this long piece of slack and we're going to pass it over the top of the balloon. So you're going to need to pull it really taut and then pull it through the join of these balloons over the top of the next one, okay, over the top of this one and over the top of the last one. Keeping everything really taut and pass it through into the stem here and then wrap it in. Okay, and then just take hold of that stem and wrap it into the pinch twist there, that little bit of excess there. Now you may find that your petals have gone off to one side. Just push your petals along that 260 you've stretched in between until everything sits fairly centrally and you're happy with it. And make a few more of these. Next I'm using a 260 in silver with a 1 finger tip and I'm going to make a bubble that is about 4 to 5 inches or so. And then I'm going to make a loop that is about the same size. Okay, give everything a squeeze and make another loop to match. Okay, twist those two together. By now you're probably fully inflated, just give everything a bit of a squeeze and a stretch and twist off a small bubble of a couple of fingers. I'm going to pinch twist that, so just grab hold of that bubble, pull it upwards and twist it round. Okay, and that just pinch twists that bubble. Okay. Take your flowers and your bow and just wrap the end of that 260 around the back of the flowers and into this junction here with the flower petal loops and the pinch twist. So I can't quite see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to quickly wrap everything in and around. And then adjust so that everything sits as you want it to. To make a smaller flower head, as I've done here, you can just use one 260 and make slightly smaller bubbles and it works a treat. Take a green 260 and inflate to a 1 to 2 finger tail, let a little bit of air out and tie. Okay, if you need help tying, I've got a video going into some detail in my beginner series on how to tie a balloon. So we want to just make a flower petal loop of about 3 to 4 fingers. So just twist that off and pass that neck and nozzle through. Make another loop of a similar size. And again, these are techniques that I covered in my beginners series. So if you want instruction that is going a little bit more slowly, then check out that series and I'll leave a link in the description. Okay, so that's your flower stem. If you've got a little bit of a tip here, just squeeze some of the air in and that's going to fill that tip up for you. For each rose, you're going to need 4 260s in a colour of your choice. Inflate to a tail of a couple of fingers, let a little bit of air out and just put a twist in that balloon and then inflate your next 260. A bit of air out and tie the two together to make a duplet. And then make another one of these. Take your 2 duplets of 260s and just pass them underneath, one underneath the other, okay? And you want to position the lower one so that it's just trapped. You don't want it wrapped into the top, you just want it snugly trapped in between these two balloons, and then twist off the lower layer, and then take the balloons from what was the upper layer, bring them down and twist them together. Okay, and then take the next pair and do the same, and aim for loops, bubbles of similar sizes. Okay, they don't have to be exact, and if you start to feel your balloon getting a little bit tight, just give it a squeeze and soften everything. That's going to help you later. Okay, so we're just working our way down. Softening the balloons as we go. Show you sideways on. Keep softening. And it's up to you how many segments you do. The more you do, the larger your flower will be. The fewer you do, the smaller your flower will be. So it just depends what sort of size rose you want. Okay, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to run out of balloon. Just going to stretch and soften here. And get one more segment. So at this point, I'm just going to snip off the ends here. Hold on to them. And tie those two ends together. And I'm going to make one more segment here with what's left, and then I'm going to snip off the ends of these and tie them together. So that's what you've got. Starting from the nozzle end here, you want to curl this top part up, okay? And you're going to need to grab hold of one of these nozzles, because what you want to do, you want to curl this segment right over and pull the nozzle in here and wrap it in, okay? And it's quite tricky to show you, okay? So I'm pulling that round, I'm pulling that nozzle through, okay, curling that over, and then here I'm taking the nozzle and I'm wrapping it around that segment there, okay. So you curl that first part over, and then carry on curling round, and next you're going to be working with these nozzles and doing the same thing. So you want a nice tight curl. So take your longest nozzle, whichever one it is, and pull it through into the next segment that makes sense. Okay, so I'm curl this one round and I'm pulling it into this segment here, wrapping that around, wrapping it through, okay, and into the back here. And then continue curling round. until you get to the bottom here, and then grab hold of your tails and pull one of them underneath one of the segments. I'm going there and I'm wrapping it around, and then I'm going to go back underneath this one. Okay, and then I am going to look for another tail. I've got another tail here, and I'm going to pass that tail underneath that segment there. Okay, and then I'm going to tie these two tails together. Okay, take your flower stem and take your flower head, and just using the tails, pull those tails into the top of the stem. Just to secure that flower head in position. Okay, and then you can just arrange the leaves. I make a couple more of these. Inflate a gold 260 to just a 1 finger tail. Let out a little bit of air and just put a twist in that. And then inflate a second gold 260, same way. And then just tie those two together. Okay. And make a loop, however large you want your bow to be. And then make a loop to match in the other balloon. So we've made a loop out of each balloon. And then in one of your balloons, twist a bubble. Have a couple of fingers and turn that into a pinch twist. So just grab hold of that bubble, pull it upwards, twist it round, and that's going to pinch twist that bubble. Okay, just going to wrap that balloon around. Okay, give everything a squeeze and make sure that the air is reasonably far down your balloon, so you've got fully inflated tails, or very close. Take your flower stems and the beginnings of your bow and wrap the loops from the gold 260 around the flower stems, okay? And just wrap or twist that 260 into that cluster of loops and a pinch twist, okay? And then take the other 260 gold and wrap that around in the same way. Wrap that in. Okay, and I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going to have a look now. If you want to square off the shape of your bow, you can do. I'm going to leave mine curved. These days I'm quite liking my bows with a curve. I did have a spell where I used to square everything off, but not so much these days. Just arrange your flowers and then you've got your rose bouquet. For each balloon flower you're going to need 3 green 260s as well as 4 260s for the flower head, and today I'm using Qualitex Chrome Green and Qualitex Chrome Purple. Inflate one of the green 260s to the end and then you're just going to bend over the end and make a flower petal loop of about 4 fingers. So just twist that around and pass the knot and nozzle through the centre. So make sure your balloon's nice and soft by giving it a squeeze and a stretch, and then make a second loop of about the same size. Don't worry too much if these loops aren't exactly the same size, and then wrap the knot and nozzle around. Again, stretch your balloon to make it nice and soft and make a third loop, okay? And then just twist those loops around one another. I've got a purple 260 with a long tail of about 7 fingers. And with this one, I'm just going to push the knot and nozzle through into the balloon using my forefinger
and then grasp hold of the knots with my other hand and pull out my finger, okay? And then just put a twist here, okay? And that's just trapping the knots on this side, and then you can let go. And if it helps, just push this side upwards a little bit. So you've got a tulip twist, okay? Make a bubble of about 2 fingers, and then make a loop between 4 and 5 fingers and twist that around. Okay, twist another bubble to match this one. So about 2 fingers, and then bend those 2 over and wrap them together. Okay, so that's what you've got. I'm going to push this tulip twist through the centre of this loop here. So just push it through like that. Okay. So that's what you've got. And if you find that you start to lose the centre of the tulip twist, you can just nudge it and massage it a little bit just to reposition it. Just pull it through and massage it a little bit. Next, twist a bubble of about 3 fingers and wrap this section into the 3 flower petal loops. So this is what we've got. Using another purple with a 3-finger tail, start at the nozzle end and just make a loop like this. Okay, so you've kind of tied a knot in that balloon, and then bring this side through and round, and then we can tie the 2 ends together. Okay. I'm going to tie a second knot and then snip off the excess. If your twist is a little bit flattened, as mine is, you can make it rounder just by pulling it outwards and shaping it. Okay. Next, pass this over the top of the centre of your flower, and you can just pressure fit the centre of your flower like that, and that's just going to hold in position. I've got 2 purple 260s, both inflated to a tail of about 4 fingers, and then we can tie these together. Squeeze and stretch everything. That's just to keep everything nice and soft. And then we're going to candy cane these 2 balloons. So hold the balloons, 1 balloon in each hand, and then just wrap them around one another. And your hands, hold your hands in the same position at the same height. And as you wrap the balloons round one another, the balloons will move downwards as you spiral them. So we're getting towards the top here, and we can just twist these 2 together and pass one underneath the other, and that's just going to hold those in position. So this is what you've got. Take your flower head and wrap the candy cane around the outside of the flower. So this is to measure how large we want this stage of the flower head to be, okay? So I'm happy at that, so I'm going to pinch these bubbles here, let the rest of the flower go, and I'm going to put a twist here. Let a little bit of air out. and trim off some of the excess here, and then tie a knot here. And we can tie the ends together. And then we can trim off the excess. Again, just round off the flower head, and we can pass this onto the flower stem. Okay, so there you've got a really pretty flower head. But there's something else we can do to embellish this design. I've got a green 260 inflated to 2 fingers, and I'm just going to tie the ends together. Okay, and then fold this balloon in half, pinch here, and then just take hold of the top section and just rotate that around. So that splits this balloon very approximately in half. And then we can take these sides and push them together, wrap around one another and pull one through the other, and that's just going to secure everything. The other thing we can do is just fold everything in half and then just massage the end a little bit, and that's just going to give the petals a little bit of shaping. And do the same thing on the other side. So that's what we've got. If you're happy with 2 petals, you can leave it at that. I'm going to add a 3rd petal. So I've got my 260, which is inflated to 2 fingers or so, but we're not going to use all of this. I just want to measure the petals to make sure that they are similar in size, but don't worry, they don't have to be exact. And then twist that around, pass the knot and nozzle through, snip the end, and then we can just tie that in a knot. Pull that into the centre of the other loops and tie. And here you can really see the difference between the petal that hasn't been shaped and the petal that has been shaped. And it's one of those little refinements to your designs that will make all the difference and just make them look so much more artistic and professional. So twist off a bubble about 3 fingers along the stem. Okay. And then we can pull this cluster of loops into that twist that we've just made. Wrap everything around. And then we can just arrange our flower petals. And if you want the flower head to point forward a little bit, you can just whittle this bit here and give that a little bit of shaping. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and that you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I publish regular videos on all aspects of balloon art. If you want to assemble your flowers into a gorgeous bouquet, you can do that really easily. I'm going to do that using a 260 in silver. I'm just going to wrap that around the flower stems. Okay, and just twist a bubble of a couple of fingers. Small bubble. There we go. And then wrap the rest of that 260 into that small bubble that you've just created. Okay. Just going to push that bubble through there. Okay, so that's caught everything. I'm just going to give the rest of the balloon a squeeze and a stretch to make sure it's nice and soft. And then I can wrap the 260 around the flower stems once again and wrap that back into that small bubble. Stretch the balloon out. I'm not sure it will go around once more. I will just check. Yes, it will. I'm going to squeeze it a little bit more to soften it. And then wrap that 260 into that small bubble again. We can just pull the stems down into the bouquet. I'm just going to snip off the end here, just to let the air out. Pass that underneath the loops and tie a knot. Okay, and then this small bubble we can just pinch twist, so just roll the knot a little bit just to soften that bubble, bend that over, pull that bubble upwards and twist it around. That's just going to finish off.
For the flower head, you're going to need two 260s. Inflate to anywhere between a 3 to 5 finger tail. Put a twist in the end here, don't tie just yet, and inflate your second 260. Soften your balloon and then tie. And make another one of these. So take the two duplets and wrap together, okay? And in the back layer, just twist a couple of bubbles like so. So that's what you've got at the back. And then bring the back two balloons forward and wrap together. Okay? Be sure to keep the colours in line. Bring the back two forward. Bring the back two forward. Bring the back two forward, twist. The back two forward, twist. Bring the back two forward, and twist. And bring the back two forward, and twist. Bring the back two forward, twist. Two forward, twist, and I'm just going to pass that one through just to secure it in position. And then here you just want to twist off a couple of bubbles, small bubbles in the back. And then in the back here you just want to twist off a couple of small bubbles and then wrap everything together there. Then we can trim off the ends and tie up. Take these tails and pass them through the centre of the bubbles there. And go the other side. Okay, and you can use these nozzles as well just to wrap around and help secure everything in position. Take the necks and nozzles and wrap them into the flower base. Okay, I've inflated a 7-inch round, but you can use an undersized 11-inch. And then I'm just downsizing until I feel that is the right kind of size to fit in the centre. Just tie off, and then just wrap that into the stem base. I'm using a gold 260 with a 1-finger tail, twisting off a bubble of 4 to 5 inches and then making a loop of a similar height, similar length, and then make another loop to match this one. Twist off, actually give this a stretch, twist off a small bubble of a couple of fingers, and then pinch twist this, so just pull it upwards and twist it around, and that will just pinch twist that bubble. Okay, there you go. Take your flowers and your bow and just wrap gold 260 around the flower stems and wrap into the bow here. Arrange everything. I'm going to trim off the end of this nozzle on gold bow. I'll see you again in the next video. Hi everyone, Melanie here from Balloon Artworks in Derbyshire in the UK. I'm really excited to be showing you how to make this lovely 2-tone balloon flower bouquet. Take a 260 green, inflate it to 1 to 2 finger tail, give your balloon a squeeze and make loops of about 5 fingers. So we're making a leaf, a flower petal loop, and take that knot and nozzle and just pass it through the centre. So that's going to make sure that that doesn't come undone. Make another loop, the same size as the first. Wrap the two together. Okay, give everything a squeeze, and by now you should be close to fully inflated. Okay, make another loop. Okay, and there you've got a stem. Okay, it's really quick to do. Next you're going to need 2 260s and inflate to the tail of about 4 or 5 fingers, about 4 or 5 fingers or so. Put a twist in there and then inflate your next 260. Let a little bit of air out just to soften your balloon, and then tie the two directly together. Okay, and make another one of these. Take your 2 duplets and just wrap the 2 together. Okay, and we're keeping one colour on this side and one colour on this side. Bring them together, and with the back pair, just twist off a pair of small bubbles. Okay. And we're keeping the colours in line. And then bring the pair from behind, the pair of 260s, and just twist together here. Okay? And when we finish off, we're making sure that the blue stays on this side and the purple stays on this side. Okay? And then bring the 2 260s from behind forwards and twist. Okay? And again, make sure that the blue stays on this side and the purple on this. And bring the 2 from behind forwards and twist. Making sure all the time that the colours stay in line. Bring the 2 from behind forward and twist. Okay, bring the 2 from behind forward and twist. Bring the 2 from behind forwards and twist. Okay. So a making sure that our colours stay on one side. Bring the two from behind and twist. Bring the two from behind and twist. Okay, and I think we might get one more out here. Bring the two from behind and twist. Okay, so I'm actually just wrapping this through because that was right at the end of the bubble. Okay, so that's what we've got, and then we can bring this one forward and twist. Okay, so that's what we've got. We've got this, I think of it as a herringbone pattern. What we do next is you need to make sure that all your nozzles here are easily accessible, and then we're going to roll up this end. So just roll it into a tight spiral. Grab hold of one of the nozzles, roll it into a spiral and pull that nozzle through into the join here and through here into this junction here, wrap around. Okay, and then hide that nozzle somewhere underneath. So you've tucked this in here. Okay, take another nozzle and continue to wrap around. Okay, and when you've curled up, take hold of this nozzle here, pull it through underneath this one, into this junction here, wrap it underneath, pull it round and through, and then just hide in the back. Okay? And then what we're going to do is continue to wrap around like this. Continue to curl up your weave into a nice tight spiral, okay? And I've got an end here that I can wrap into, so I can pull that into here. Just tuck it underneath there, pull it through, wrap it around, and that's just going to secure that in position. Okay, now trim off these ends. Just tie that one in a knot. Okay, and then I can pull this one up through here. Through, wrap that around, and then I can tie it onto that other nozzle. Trim these off. Okay, and tie them together. And then I'm going to pull these up into this section here. I'm taking both tails together through at the same time, grabbing them underneath there and pulling them round and wrapping round. Okay. And what you can do is you can tie these to the other ones as well. So we just tie them just to secure everything together. Okay, so that's what you've got. And using these bits of excess here, just wrap your flower head into the stem. Okay, next take a 260. I'm using gold with a 1-finger tail. And I'm making a bubble for this, that's about 4 to 5 inches or so, and then making a loop that is similar sort of height. Give a twist, give everything a squeeze, make another loop to match this one. And then twist off a bubble of about a finger and a half or so, and pinch twist that. Okay? Just give another pinch twist. And then just stretch this a little bit just to make sure it's nice and soft. Take your flowers and your bow and just wrap that bow, that 260, around the back of the flower stems and into this junction here. Just twist off the bubble and wrap that in. And just arrange everything. Going to trim off this nozzle. So there's your two-tone flower bouquet. I'm using a chrome green, so I'm just going to inflate most of the way. So just want a little tip on the end and then just soften the beginning and tie. Okay, and we're just going to make loop twists of about 4 or 5 fingers or so. Take a knot and nozzle, pass it through, give your balloon a bit of a squeeze because we do want to fill out that tip a little bit. Make another loop and make another loop and twist these together. Okie dokie. So there you've got your flower stem. 4 fingers or so. Just let a little bit of air out here to soften. Put a twist and then tie the two directly together. And then you want another duplicate, and I'm going to use a different colour. And we're just going to position them together and just encircle this one with the purple and then put a twist. Okay, so that's all you've got. And then with this one, just bring it down and make a twist. Okay, so these, you're wanting these sections to be approximately the same size, but don't worry, if they're a bit off, don't worry. We don't need to obsess about uniformity for this design. Give the balloons a bit of a squeeze, that one's feeling a little bit tight. And then make another loop. And we just continue in this way until, you know, we're getting towards the end of our balloon. So I'm going to finish these off here. So I've wrapped them around and I'm going to snip off the ends. Tie in a knot. And then I'm just going to tie again. I'm just going to pass one section of the 260 underneath and tie again, because there is quite a lot of tension there. And then I'm going to make one more loop. Okay, snip off the ends again. Oops, that one's come undone, don't worry about it. We can go down to the next one and just tie that here. Bring that underneath and tie that again. So what you need is you take one of your nozzles, and what we're going to do now is just curl this up and wrap this up. So you're going to need one of your nozzles and then pass it underneath. When it's curled up, just pass it underneath one of the bubbles here, through, and pull it back into the section closest to it, back underneath the purple, and then just wrap it around and back underneath. So you're just trying to secure that in position, just to give you the start of that curve. And then you can just continue to wrap those up until you get to the end here, and then you're going to use these tails just to go under one of the loops. And round a couple of times, and then tie. And then this section, I'm just going to pull underneath here. And tie onto the two purple here. One of these days I will actually manage to make a video without bopping myself in the face with the balloon that I'm making. It invariably happens. Okay, so there you've got your flower head, and then all we need to do is just attach that to the flower stem. Okay, so I am just going to make a bow now, because I've got a couple of others for the flower heads. And I'm just going to put them together in a bouquet. Just want to make a loop of a bubble of perhaps 5 inches or so, and then a loop, and then make another loop to match this one. Twist them around. Okay, a little squeeze. And then this is where we're better off if we make a pinch twist here. So just one little bubble. Wrap that around, and then I'm not sure that's going to go all the way around my bouquet, so I'm just going to check. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Looks like it might. So just trying to get a tail that is going to be similar in size to the other one. So just wrap off the tail, and then wrap that into the bow here. And just adjust everything. So if you want to square off your loops, you can do. I had a spell where I always squared off the loops, but these days I like them with a bit of a curve to them, so I tend not to do that anymore. And then it's just a case of adjusting the flower heads. And then you've got a really quick bouquet with only one little pinch twist.